There's a reason drought has shaped entire civilizations. When water disappears, everything changes. Crops fail, soils crack open, and even the hardiest farmers face the same difficult question. How do you grow food when the one ingredient you can't replace is gone? Across history, from ancient desert farmers to frontier homesteaders, people found ways not just to survive, but to produce reliable harvests using almost no water at all. Their solutions weren't magic. They were practical, repeatable, and built on deep observation of land, soil, and plant behavior. In a world where drought cycles are becoming more severe, these old and forgotten methods matter now more than ever. This guide brings those strategies forward, showing you exactly how to grow abundant food, even when rain barely falls and the groundwater is out of reach. Understanding that drought farming starts with controlling the soil, not the water itself. Most gardeners panic when water is limited, believing the only answer is irrigation. But the truth is the opposite. The soil determines how far a drop of water can travel, how long it stays, and whether plants can actually use it. If you focus on soil structure first, water demand automatically drops. Dryland farmers throughout history understood that loose, crumbly soil absorbs and stores moisture like a sponge, while hard, compacted soil sheds it instantly. A thin mulch layer prevents evaporation, but a deep, carbon-rich soil body actually stores water. By adding organic matter through compost leaf mold or chipped wood, you build soil with pores large enough for airflow and small enough to trap water. Once the soil itself can hold moisture, your plants require a fraction of what you'd normally pour into them. One real-world application is working organic matter into your top 10 to 15 centimeters of soil before planting, then adding a heavy mulch layer on the surface. Within a few weeks, irrigation frequency can be cut dramatically. When water is scarce, crop selection becomes as important as the soil itself. Certain plants evolved to survive harsh conditions with minimal moisture, and these should form the backbone of any low-water farm system. Crops like cowpeas, sorghum, millet, tipari beans and sweet potatoes naturally use less water and tolerate heat and dryness far better than common vegetables like lettuce or celery. Even within a species, varieties matter. Old heirloom strains often outperform modern hybrids when water runs short because they were selected during times of environmental hardship. A practical example is replacing high-demand corn with drought-resistant sorghum. Sorghum can survive long dry spells and still produce strong yields, while corn fails after just a few days of water stress. By selecting crops based on survival traits, you build insurance into the garden itself. One of the most effective drought strategies is encouraging plants to drive their roots deeper than normal. Deep roots access moisture, reserves that shallow roots can't reach. You can train plants to root deeply by watering heavily but infrequently during their early growth. This signals them to push roots downward in search of stability. Ancient farmers often planted seeds in shallow troughs or pits which directed rainwater to the root zone and protected seedlings from drying winds. You can actually replicate this by creating planting basins or funnel-shaped indentations around each plant. When you water, the moisture sinks straight into the deepest part of the root zone rather than evaporating across the surface. Over time, the plant becomes far more drought-resistant simply because its roots are built to endure dryness. It may seem a little counterintuitive, but full sun is not always ideal in drought conditions. Shade doesn't stop plants from growing. It slows evaporation and keeps soil temperatures manageable. When the soil cools even slightly, the rate of moisture loss drops dramatically. Simple shade systems, such as cloth suspended over rows, trellised climbing plants, casting protective shadows, or planting crops beside tall drought-resistant species, create microclimates that reduce water demands. Farmers in arid regions have, used this principle for centuries. They shelter heat-sensitive crops under taller ones or next to natural windbreaks. You can apply it by stretching 50% shade cloth over your beds, or perhaps planting your water-hungry crops in the shadow of corn, sunflowers, or even simple wooden frames. When rainfall is, so rare, you must treat it like treasure. Water harvesting earthworks such as swales, trenches, or small contour ditches slow runoff and give moisture time to sink into the soil rather than escaping downhill. A well-placed trench, just a few centimetres deep, can capture surprising volumes of water. Even rooftops become valuable catchment systems when gutters direct rainfall into barrels or storage tanks. You don't need large infrastructure. A simple diversion channel leading from a shed roof into your garden beds can provide enough moisture to cut irrigation needs drastically. Small-scale farmers in desert regions have done this for generations, turning brief storms into long-term soil hydration. When you do water, the method matters just as much as the amount. Slow-release tools like clayolas buried near plant roots can sustain crops for days at a time using minimal water. These unglazed pots seep moisture gradually, delivering it directly to the root zone where plants can use it efficiently. Even a homemade version, using a clay pot sealed at the bottom and buried up to its neck, can, maintain soil moisture far better than surface watering. This technique actually mirrors ancient desert irrigation systems and remains one of the most water-efficient methods available today. Farming with almost no water is not only possible, it's proven, historical and repeatable. By focusing on soil improvement, selecting drought-tolerant crops, using shade wisely, shaping the land to trap water, and delivering moisture slowly and strategically, you can produce healthy, reliable harvests even during severe drought. These methods turn scarcity into resilience and transform dry land into productive ground. If this guide gave you tools to face drought with confidence, make sure you subscribe to FarmLogic and share this video with others who want to grow food even when water is scarce. Your support helps more people learn the old skills that still keep us alive today.